All righty then. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Secret Sun special report on the Paris Olympics opening ceremony. This is entitled The Olympic Working, or When Sorcery Fails, because that's exactly what you saw, according to the work that I've been doing for a number of years. All right? Now, if you've been living under a rock or avoiding the media, or maybe you were at the beach, let's bring you up to speed. Drag queens parody The Last Supper during Olympics opening ceremonies. Now, this was a rather sprawling affair. Let's just say there were a lot of parts to it. It wasn't quite like what we saw in previous ceremonies where the action is limited to the stadium themselves. They kind of went all over the place with this. It was rather awful, and very poorly executed, and the implications and the repercussions of this have become rather obvious. Okay, so this was the one part that people are having the most trouble with. We have a Dionysius kind of figure here, with a garland of roses, and I think don't ever look up the meaning of the term rosebud on Urban Dictionary, is all I'm going to say. This is exactly what we've been seeing over and over again for several years now, at least since the Obama administration, when all this stuff went full tilt. Full tilt, all right? Full tilt. So there we have this woman, self-proclaimed queer woman, in the place of Christ with this solar headdress. Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what it looks like. There's no subtlety here, but there is subtext, and people are missing the subtext, okay? Now, you've probably seen this image here. Apparently, these people in the place of the apostles are contestants from the French version of Drag Race, all right? So I imagine we have drag kings and drag queens here. And, of course, we have a very small child. Now, we're going to get into that because that speaks to the overarching agenda. And here we see Da Vinci's Last Supper. Now, I mean, it's rather obvious. I mean, this Last Supper, I mean, gosh. I used The Last Supper on the cover of our Gods Wear Spandex to show that the superheroes had replaced traditional religion in American culture, or we're going to. And here we see the next phase of that, which is a direct outgrowth of superhero culture and transhumanism, that the transgender people are the new gods. And this is not speculation. This is all rather explicit. We're getting into that. But these are the holy people, literally the holy people of the globalist religion. Okay. And again, this is not speculation. This is all explicit. People just don't know where to look. And I would also caution people who've seen a lot of stuff about Satanism, please don't talk about Satanism all the time. It just makes you look foolish, and it doesn't describe what we're seeing. Okay, I mean, certainly it's satanic with a small s, but it's not Satanism. As I always say, only losers and perverts worship Satan. And of course, the big kahuna of Satanists, Anton LaVey, was just a snitch. Okay, so he was a police informant, honey trap operator. Satanism is stupid and cringe, and only losers and perverts are interested in it. And these people are not losers, if anything else. These are the elites. This is the religion of the elites, okay? And this is not speculation. This is all spelled out right in front of you. They're telling you exactly who their new gods are, all right? Who their new Christ is. And you just need to know how to look. You know how to read the symbols. So this is an interesting juxtaposition because we see what they have as their Jesus figure. This is mockery of Christ. We have this blonde haired, bearded person. I'm not sure which side of the gender spectrum this person is transitioning to or from. It's a little bit uncertain to me. But this is their mockery of Christ, as well as the queer person, the queer proud, whatever terminology they use. All right, so we've been seeing this over and over again in the culture. Okay, this is just the apotheosis of it. But as I'm going to show you, I think inarguably, that this was a magical working that failed. Okay, this is a failure. This is a catastrophic failure. And what that portends is still yet to be determined. All right, now this is something that I've been working on for a very long time, since the earliest days of the blog. All right, this is from 2008. This is a video that my old friend, the late Rick Clay, sent to me. Some of you might be familiar from his work on the 2012 Olympics, which is a whole other story. I am very upset about what happened to Rick. We were planning on doing a video together or something together, and then he just kind of dropped out of sight. And he was under the influence of somebody who shall go nameless, but I think harmed him psychologically. But that is a whole other discussion. But anyhow, you obviously see the date here, June 12th, 2008. That's 16 years ago now. Okay. So I've been doing this for a while. And we see 2009. This is looking at the Sydney Olympics, the closing ceremony here. The ceremonies from Vancouver in 2010, and the number 17, which I've talked about quite a lot, several years, 10 years before Q ever came along. All right, 17. And the London mascots, the little aliens there, and the obvious symbolism of the rainbow. So we just see the symbolism over and over again. And of course, a couple years ago, I looked at the Commonwealth Games from Birmingham and the obvious Moloch symbolism. I mean, this is all religious programming. Pure and simple. This goes back thousands of years. There's no mysteries here. This is all following a very old script. You don't have to lapse into fantasy or speculation. It's all right there. And if anybody calls you tinfoil or whatever, just tell them that they are idiots and deserve whatever they get coming to them. Okay? Just tell them that. It's absurd. This is all well known. This has all been documented. This is not conspiracy theory. This is conspiracy fact. Well, not even conspiracy. I mean, this is just a religion. We're seeing the rolling out of a new old religion. All right? Pure and simple. No debate whatsoever. And of course, in this Paris Olympics, we see the same symbolism that we saw, the Moloch symbolism. Plus, we have an actual golden calf on a pedestal. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. There we go. And the Moloch head, the bull head. Okay. So Baal, I mean, it's all the same symbolism that we see over and over again. This goes back thousands of years. There's no debate. There's no controversy. It's just all right there in front of you, okay? Obey the laws. Now, this is where I come in. I saw this ceremony. I saw all the videos, which were scrubbed by the Olympic Committee, by the way. People were being banned from X, Twitter, Zwitter for posting them. Very bad cover-up underway. But it wasn't until I saw some shill on Facebook trying to explain all this stuff away, and all these people were loving it, and oh my goodness. And, you know, they get a chance to dump on the chuds, as they say. But it's all foolishness. It's all lies. what we see here is Knowles's laws in action. What are Knowles's laws if you're new to the Secret Sun? Knowles's first law: whenever a controversy over symbolism erupts in the media, it's usually disguising a completely different symbolic message altogether. That's exactly what we're seeing here, and I'll explain why. Knowles's second law: the old state cults will be reestablished under the cover of woke. Also what we're seeing here. Exactly what we're seeing here. Exactly what we've been seeing for over a decade now. Again, at least back to the early years of the Obama campaign. The old state cults will be reestablished under the cover of woke. That's been going on for several years now. Unfortunately, I think that the program is hitting a major brick wall because of poor ritualism. This is all very much decided on ritualism, and you can look at this from a supernatural or a psychological standpoint. It doesn't make a difference. The results are the same. The old statues and symbols currently being torn down will eventually be replaced by the icons and idols of the new old state cult. Exactly what we're seeing again. Okay, exactly what we're seeing again. We've been seeing this for a number of years. I've been talking about this. It's all right in your face. People just don't know what they're looking at. And again, please stop talking about Satanism. Please stop talking about Satanism. Please stop talking about Satanism. It doesn't describe what we're seeing, and it just makes you look foolish and easily dismissed. Okay? Please stop doing that. Now, all of these things, it took me many years to figure out what this was all about. Why are we seeing all these rituals, explicit rituals that I've been talking about since the earliest days of the blog? What are these things about? What's the point of it? Well, this is from Aleister Crowley's, I guess his little recipe for magical workings. We're going to focus on these two aspects of the process: invocation and evocation. Invocation, where the magician identifies with the deity invoked. There are three methods. Devotion, where identity with the god is attained by love and by surrender, by giving up or suppressing all irrelevant and illusory parts of yourself. Calling forth, where identity is attained by paying special attention to the desired part of yourself, positive, as the first method is negative. Okay, and this is also a part of a certain agenda that we've been seeing rolled out, assumption of God forms. This is all part and parcel of a particular agenda that shall go nameless, that I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about. Drama, where identity, and this is very important, drama, where identity is attained by sympathy, sympathetic magic. It is very difficult for the ordinary man to lose himself completely in the subject of a play or of a novel, but for those who can do so, this method is unquestionably the best. Okay, so that's invocation, right? So that's surrendering your identity politics, so to speak, calling forth, assuming as your identity the desired part of yourself, okay, the assumption of God forms, walking away from your old identity, attaining a new identity in the form of gods and God forms, and drama, ritual. This is exactly why we've been seeing all this stuff that I've been talking about: Super Bowls, MTV, Oscars, all these award ceremonies. We've just been seeing this stuff all the time for many, many years. Okay, and what it is spellcraft. Okay, this is all sympathetic magic. Again, this is all well known, well recorded, accepted by scholars and historians and so on. This is not conspiracy theory. This is history. This is fact. All right, period. Don't let anybody ever tell you differently. The usual suspects. Of course, we have Lady Gaga, Enchantée. Remember what I just said about ritual magic, sympathetic magic, spellcraft workings, Enchantée, enchantment. That's what we're seeing. Saw a lot of pink in this production, which symbolism should be obvious to most people. There is Lady Gaga and the usual suspects. I mean, she's been doing all this kind of stuff for a while. My favorite example is the 2017 Super Bowl, which I did quite a bit on. All right, quite a bit on. And there she is sitting at the piano with the wings. We have like flamingo wings here, angel wings. We've seen the symbolism with her before at the Grammys. So this is nothing new. It's all the same thing. These people are running out of ideas, which I think is also going to hinder them. They're losing the novelty aspect. Apparently, the reception to this, as well as we're seeing with all the award shows, the award shows have just been collapsing in ratings and so on over the past 5 or 6 years when this whole program really revved up. Celine Dion was there, big comeback performance. She's have what's called stiff body syndrome, I think, some sort of probably congenital disease. Hopefully not because of drug abuse or whatever. But anyhow, Dion. By the way, Celine Dion is moon goddess. Celine, Selene, aka Diana, goddess of the moon, Artemis, all the same thing. Celine, okay, full of joy after comeback performance. Celebrated the athletes' stories of sacrifice and determination, pain, and perseverance. Okay, and of course, don't forget that the Olympics started off as a religious ritual, okay, in Greece to the Olympic gods, the gods of Olympus. So the symbolism is not hidden or controversial in any way. All right. Now, if you remember, just a few years ago, Celine got into some controversy with her clothing line, and the ad for it was all this black, dark symbolism clothing line. Some, including an exorcist, are convinced that Celine Dion's new children's clothing line is demonic. Yes, demonic. And there is some symbolism for you there. The Hospitallers, the black and white cross of the Hospitallers. All right, another secret society, ancient secret society, dating back to the Middle Ages. And here is some of the symbolism from her Instagram. What is it? Manunu World or Nunu World. We have skulls and very kill list looking antlers there, and another sort of folk horror imagery here, black and white, dualism. It's all rather sinister. Can't imagine anybody would ever clothe their kids in this stuff, but who knows these days, right? And of course, Ariana Grande, Bestia, as I call her. I've done a lot of work on her. She's been used as a paper doll for a lot of these rituals and a lot of the symbolism over the years. Okay, so we get the usual suspects there. Now, we see the coloring, which is all like very reminiscent of pride flags for these banners and so on. And LeBron James, who, obviously a great athlete, but I have major questions about who is controlling him and why and for what reason. But all I can say here is that without making any claims or casting any aspersions, the colors of his banner there reminded me of the MAP flag. MAP, M-A-P. MAP, it's an acronym. All right. The memes have been brutal. Oh my goodness, people have just been laying into this whole thing. This is a bit of a boomer meme here, a little AI symbolism there. This is a good one though. Get that Twin Peaks symbolism there, and of course the Last Supper, and of course again we see that Christ figure on the right, and the child on the left. And pay close attention to the man next to that child because that is also part of the controversy. All right, we'll look at that shortly. This rather crude cartoon poking fun at the symbolism. And more AI. There we go. Sort of Nephilism clown, killer clowns, jesters, jokers, all that kind of symbolism that we see so much of these days. Almost sort of a kiss look there too. That one in the center kind of reminds me of Gene Simmons. And here we go, another AI meme poking fun at the presentation. Now let's talk about all the drag queens that were the priestesses of this particular ritual program from very early on, right? And of course, you know this quote, an old quote from ancient book, Mithras hates the race of women, all right? Now, this was obviously Emmanuel Macron's show. All of this, he appeared in the ceremony. He obviously signed off on all this. He obviously approves of all the symbolism. It's obviously symbolism that he wants to project into the world, okay? It's obviously symbolism that he wants to project into the world. And there is his wife, rather strange-looking individual. But there you go. Brigitte Macron to sue over false claims she was born male. We've been seeing a lot of this going around. I have no opinion on this. I'm not entirely convinced by the claims, but whenever you see the term false claims used in the media, it's usually something that is actually true that they're trying to cover up. But I don't know if that's the case here, but again, I mean, this is something that's going on that I will refrain from opining on today, all right? But anyhow, we had the torchbearers were all drag queens, okay? Or as I call them, gender minstrels. Gender minstrels, okay? Gender minstrels, as I call them. So they were the torchbearers, right? And if you're familiar with the iconography of Mithras, Mithras is the torchbearer, the light bringer. There we go. So it all fits in to the overarching religious program. These people hate women, all right? This goes back, we have the alchemical rebus here, but so this goes back a long ways. A lot of the early ancient gods were androgynous. Atum of Egypt, probably the best known example. We have the rebus here, the perfected man of alchemy with the snakes and so on, and the dragon, and of course, Alephus Levi's Baphomet with the Sova and Coagula. So more alchemical symbolism here. The perfected androgyne chimera, okay? This goes back to ancient Egypt as well, but there's also elements of Pan in this god, Jupiter, Atum. What you need to realize about all this religious stuff is that it's incredibly syncretic. It gets incredibly confusing. It always has been incredibly syncretic, which is why it's hard to make definitive statements over the particular and unique identities of one god versus another, because throughout the ancient antiquity, they were all mixed and matched, cross-identified. One god would take the role of the other, maybe even the name. I mean, it was a big jumble, all right, big jumble. But here we go. We see this a lot. Trans people are holy. Trans people are sacred. This is, and there's the solar symbolism, the same symbolism, the crown of the sun that we see in the Last Supper in the Paris Olympics, okay? These are the new gods. These are the holy people of the new old state cult religion, okay? These are and I firmly believe that this is just a revival of the way things worked in the ancient world, that I believe, certainly in Mesopotamia, I believe that most of the priestesses were actually trans, all right? Trans people are holy, trans people are sacred. Trans people are sacred, trans magic is real. See a lot of this symbolism up there, a lot of it. billboards, all sorts of things, T-shirts, bumper stickers, you name it. This is all part of a religion, okay? As we see this iconography here, this little vignette here, very much looking like any, certainly a lot of ancient Catholic iconography, obviously not in the subject matter, but in the presentation and the layout. But this goes back all the way. I mean, we'll see this kind of symbolism in any number of ancient religions, all right? Trans people are sacred. Trans people are sacred. A lot of it out there. Now, this is actually very ancient Kadesh, okay? Male temple prostitutes of the ancient world, all right? The term means sacred, okay? Sacred, Kadesh. Sacred feminine in particular. And we see it on the right from an old Bible manual, glossary, Kadesh, sodomite, consecrated to Astarte or Venus, prostituting himself in her honor. Libidinous worship of Venus among the Babylonians. See Lucian, Dia Syria, the Syrian goddess, Atagardis. All right. So this goes back a long way. There's no mystery. There's no controversy. When they're using this term sacred, it comes from Kadesh. It's part of a religious program, period. So we see Kadesh, a sacred person, a male devotee by prostitution to licentious idolatry. And it's always mistranslated as sodomite in King James and other Bibles, but it actually has a very specific meaning, the sacred feminine, meaning male temple prostitutes who dress as their goddesses, all right? No mystery here. No, this isn't conspiracy theory. This is all history. This is all fact. And of course, the day before this presentation, Kamala Harris made history as the first sitting vice president to appear on RuPaul's Drag Race. Remember that the Last Supper was populated or portrayed or performed by contestants, I guess, on the French version of Drag Race. Okay, so there's no mystery here. This is not coincidental. This is not accidental. This is all part of a program. It's all part of a religious program. Kamala Harris is another story altogether, but we'll get into that shortly. And look at those very phoenix-looking birds on the top of those flagpoles. You see this a lot, particularly in Washington. Those long phoenix necks, which of course is a reference to Lyra, the constellation Lyra. Now, here's an interesting thing. On the right is Kadesh, the Syrian Egyptian goddess. We see here with Min and Osiris, okay, riding the back of the lion. This is a reference to Coma Berenices, which is a constellation that rides atop Leo, as we see here. But we see in her right hand, we see 3 lotuses. In Sanskrit, Kamala means lotus, okay? So her name, and look at the, oh my goodness, I just noticed that. Look at her little curly cues in her hair, which correspond directly to those of Kadesh. Yes, so we're seeing the fulfillment of a long rollout here. Okay, and if I had to bet money, I would bet my money that they will install her in the Oval Office. Okay, the Oval Orifice, let's just say. Kamala means lotus, the lotuses of Kadesh, the sacred feminine. Okay, the patroness of the trans movement, the sacred feminine. Sacred feminine actually means men who have adopted feminine identities, okay? Again, this isn't conspiracy theory. This isn't an attack. This isn't bigotry. This is all history, period. Anybody who tells you differently is lying to you, okay? Period. That's the end of the discussion. The Watchers again. Oh my goodness, the Watchers. We keep seeing them. So this ties into the same agenda that we're seeing. The Greek word for transvestite temple prostitute, which again is katesh in Hebrew, and the Hebrew word for angel, malak, malakoi, malakim, are essentially the same. A fact church artists seem to have been read in and on for millennia. If officially sanctioned depictions are any indication, just go look at all the depictions of angels, which are supposedly all male, in ancient art, medieval art, Byzantine art. We're going to see that they are depicted at best as an androgynous and usually wearing clothes and hair of women of the time, okay? Popular styles with women. All right, that's just, again, it's history. This isn't conspiracy theory. This isn't anything but just a discussion of historical fact. And here we see it again. The angels, there's the harp, again, which is associated with Lyra. And we see the winged angels. These are the angels of the Lord, as associated, as opposed to the fallen angels, the watcher angels. Okay, so there we go. Again, the holy people. The holy people. So Malakoi is the Greek rendering of Katash, sacred feminine, but also corresponds to the Hebrew word for angel. So the same word. We see the same word there. What this means is a little above my pay grade, but it's just historical fact. I hope people aren't offended by this, but it's just the way it is. And we see the same symbolism here. There's the horse person, the horse man, or maybe not man, that we're going to discuss shortly. There's the wings. So we're seeing this whole tableau play out with these giant wings. This is Watcher worship. I've been talking about this for a number of years. I've pointed it out in a lot of different fora. There's no argument here for my money. It isn't just the angels, it's the fallen angels, the old ones, the titans, the Anunnaki, okay? And again, here's the symbolism with Lady Gaga, who's always up for a good ritual, always up for a good ritual, all right? And the pink bonbons, the male dancers sacrificing their pink bonbons to the goddess so they can achieve angelhood, the stairway to heaven. And that's what the symbolism here. So we see these men with their pink balls, which they are offering up to the goddess, the sacred feminine, the watcher angel. It's all the same thing. Again, syncretism. It gets confusing, I realize, but it's all the same thing. But these are the men who are offering up their manhood to the goddess. All right. Again, this is just religion, period. So there's that rider again, and there are the wings again. And the Eiffel Tower, of course. The giant obelisk, emerging from the obelisk with the wings, okay, leaving behind the obelisk, leaving the manhood behind. Same symbolism here. Becoming holy by sacrificing your manhood, okay. Again, I mean, there it all is. It's very obvious. The headless rite. So what is the headless rite? Now, this is part of the program that people said, oh, that's not so bad. Yeah, well, let's look into it. The headless ritual invokes the bornless or headless one, a transcendent deity beyond birth and death, symbolizing the unity of the divine and the practitioner. Some interpretations suggest that the ritual may have connections to the Egyptian god Set. I don't believe that. I think that's incorrect. I believe that it is Osiris, okay, the bornless one, Orion Osiris, okay? And you'll see some depictions, or if you look at the constellation of Orion, you see a body, but you don't see a head. And of course, Orion is cited in the headless or bornless one ritual itself, okay? and you're supposed to face Orion. I mean, it's not Set. Set is two different constellations, but that's another discussion. It is also called the Headless Right, or the Invocation of the Bornless One, which is a rather metal name, right? Very metal. So there is the Headless One, the constellation of Orion. Okay. And here is allegedly Marie Antoinette, but we see her hair in flames. The flame symbolism is very important. We'll be looking at that shortly. Carrying her own head, okay, and that should be familiar to some people. This is more religious sacrilege and gender inversion, as we'll soon see. And so they had all these, I guess, aristocrats or depictions of Marie Antoinette headless in these windows. And I forget the name of this building. Forgive me. So there is Gojira, the great French prog metal band, performing to the headless rite. The headless rite. This is all ritual. The entire thing is ritual. The person who designed this came out and said as much. There's no controversy here. He said as much, that this is an explicit religious ritual. He just denied that it was mocking Christ. Okay. Gojira takes its name from the original name of Godzilla. Godzilla, the original Japanese masterpiece. Okay. Godzilla. Shin Godzilla changes the classic monster into a Lovecraftian horror, which isn't too big a leap, since as Godzilla comes from the water, the depths, the ocean, very much a great old one, or a deep one, whatever you choose to name him. Again, there it is. And of course, one of the adaptions of Godzilla gender swapped him, gender bended him, her. So I guess, I don't know canonically, but certainly cinematically, Godzilla is an androgyne. Yes, sacred feminine, okay, Katesh. But the Gojira performance may seem less cringe than all the other nonsense, but it's really not. It's just more antinomian gender inversion. Saint Denis transed as Marie Antoinette. Okay, and on the right is a depiction of Saint Denis from Notre Dame. If you see it also as Macron and his buddies bragging about destroying Notre Dame and hundreds of other churches in France, by the way, well, that's your prerogative. I will not comment on that. I'm not making any definitive statements about that, but if that's how you choose to look at it, that's how you choose to look at it. Particularly with the hair in flames. The hair in flames, yes. The flames, the woman, Our Lady, in flames, the headless rite, the headless one. The pink flames, yes, it's all on fire, yes. It is all on fire. It's all being burnt down to make way for the new cult, the new old cult, the old gods. Yes, burn down the churches, replace them with the temples, take down the statues, replace them with the icons and idols of the new old state cults. And this is a rather unsettling image of Michelle Obama on the Seine, drinking wine casually while Notre Dame burns. Yes, the destruction of Notre Dame, the destruction of Our Old Lady. Mithras hates the race of women. It's all part of the same constellation, all right? But not only is Godzilla an androgyne, by some measure, Godzilla is also a Titan. The Titans, the Watchers, the Anunnaki, the old ones, the deep ones, the great deep ones, all of it. It's all the same thing. It all comes from the same source. The old gods, banished to the abyss, the depths of the ocean, the Abzu, okay? Tiamat. Yes, Godzilla, king of the monsters, king of the titans, the alpha titans. Yes, the Watchers. There we go. two of which are winged, Rodan and Ghidorah. Yes. The spirit of the sane, Sequana. We see her here. Somebody, now I had mentioned that shill on Facebook who is writing all this nonsense. But there is Sequana, roughly, and I'm probably mispronouncing that, and I apologize, roughly analogous to Lorelei. Yes, the goddesses of the river. Yes. And there are the pearls, the string of pearls, the pearly dewdrops, of course. Can't go without that. Now, so this person, the shill, probably an agent with some agency, I'm sure, or some political organization, anyhow, said that the horse man was actually meant to be Sequana, but that is a lie. Of course, Sequana is depicted on a swan boat, which is taken from the iconography and idols of Aphrodite, who ties into Katesh and Venus and Astarte, all the same figure. So when we see all these different names, it's the same principle being looked at. It's given different cultural accretions, different names, different roles, but there is basically a source, like an no pun intended, pantheon that dates back to ancient Sumer and spread across the Mediterranean. And that's what we're seeing here, okay? And this figure, the goddess of the Seine, comes from that tradition, okay? The Seine, Sequana is also identified with Dionysus, sort of a trans Dionysus here, or Dionysus in his trans identity, because Dionysus changed genders at will. Okay, the grapes. So again, the syncretism, it's all very confusing. It all gets very confusing when you look at all the cultural accretions. All right. There was no Bible, so to speak. There was no guidebook. People just basically did what they wanted. There was no canon behind all these pantheons. Unless, of course, you go back to Sumer and the Enumera-Elish and Babylon and so on. But that's a whole other discussion. Poor Isis. Now, there is a school of thought that argues that Paris does not come from the ancient Trojan hero Paris, but is a neologism or portmanteau of poor Isis, for Isis. And we see that symbolism here. Paris, the mysteries of Isis. There's another lotus flower. Yes, Kamala, the lotus. All the same symbolism. And Isis, of course, was winged. So we get the connection to the angels and the watchers. And part of the ceremonies, we saw this balloon carrying the Olympic cauldron after it was lit during the ceremony on July 26th, and that is the glass pyramid of the Louvre, which, of course, played a central role in the Da Vinci Code. Did it not? Did it not? There was an old rumor that there were 666 windows in that pyramid. I can neither confirm nor deny that. Now, not only do we have the old gods explicitly being celebrated, not only explicitly, but admittedly being celebrated during the ceremony, Paris is also the home capital or the birthplace of woke, Michel Foucault. Not to be confused with the original Foucault of Foucault's pendulism fame. Okay. But Michel Foucault was a major architect, laid the groundwork for wokeness, the godfather of wokeness, okay? Making room, clearing out the old ways, making room for the return of the new gods, the old aristocracies, the slaves, the worldwide slave state, so on and so forth. Genealogy of woke, Foucault's war on truth and knowledge. And there is the man himself, yes, rather despicable man. Had a major sweet tooth, let's just say, and all sorts of horrific behaviors. The way he treated people was despicable, as you would expect from the woke. So again, getting back to Paris 2024, this is the 33rd Olympiad, So if we're seeing this very explicit celebration and openly admitted celebration of the old gods, we should not be surprised. This seems to be part of an agenda playing out. The 33rd Olympiad, yes, in Paris, home of Scottish Rite Freemasonry. Scottish Rite Freemasonry is not Scottish, it's French. So these are the other applicants, I guess you would say. Los Angeles, of course, the angel, the watcher, the androgynous angel there. Budapest, they didn't even try. I don't even know what that symbolism is, and I don't really care. And of course, Paris with the 24, the stylized glyph of Jupiter. Jupiter descending. Yes, Jupiter descending. So there we go. The glyph of the Paris, or the, I guess you would say, the sigil of the Paris Olympics is the sigil of Jupiter. Okay, so there's no mysteries here. It's all very open. There's no need for nonsensical tinfoil hat accusations and whatnot. This is all openly acknowledged. Okay, I'm not making inferences that haven't been accepted. But of course, Jupiter. So Jupiter, the twilight of Jupiter, Macron, who named himself Emperor Jupiter. Gosh, that was a bold move. This has been a terrible year for him, by the way. France is rapidly being stripped of their African colonies. Yes, they still have colonies. They are economic colonies. Those are being challenged now. It's very bad news for their economy because they rely on the tribute from their colonies, the tribute to Emperor Jupiter. But of course, Jupiter is well known in this iconography of people of a certain, how do I even put this? Certain hobby, certain proclivity, let's just say, certain sweet tooth, a certain sweet tooth. Okay, that's what we're talking about here. And this is Budweiser's old advertisement. So I went into this in depth when the whole Bud Light thing emerged. Okay, so again, this is all open. This is all acknowledged. This is not mysterious. You don't need a secret decoder ring. You just need to understand what it is you're looking at. All right, and that's what the Secret Sun is all about. Now, speaking of sweet tooths and proclivities, oh my goodness. Again, we talked about how the Olympic Committee was scrambling to delete all these videos, let's just say, after a certain display. Which by is no means a wardrobe malfunction like we saw at the Super Bowl with Janet Jackson back in 2004. Now, this is something entirely different. Okay, this is intentional. And if you look at the image on the left, there is that mockery of Christ. Again, I'm not sure exactly what the messaging in particular is, other than the obvious. Yes, okay. But anyhow, so we'll get into Dionysus in just a moment. But notice that the individual with the wardrobe malfunction, notice where that person was placed next to. Notice what that person seemed very interested in. The child. Yes, the child. Now that is probably a child in transition, let's just say, given the rest of the display here. I would imagine that that is sacred feminine, and quite disturbing that that man who was tasked to display his wares seemed particularly interested in that young androgynous child. But that's part of the religion too, as we see here. This goes back, not only in ancient paganism, but also in occult traditions, that this sweet tooth, as it were, is a central part of their practices. Okay, going back to the ancient world. Again, this is all well known, well documented, written into the myths, so to speak. And this brings us to the Mysterium Baphometus Revelatum. Okay, any Tracy Twyman fans out there? I remember talking to her, having discussions with her when she first discovered this text. What is this text? Joseph von Hammer-Purgstall discovered these artifacts in an old Templar castle that showed that the Templars did indeed practice Ophite, form of libertine Gnosticism in ancient Alexandria, and occult rites practiced by the Templars. And then we see the Baphomets. Okay, we see the androgynes on the left and the right. Okay, and we see the water bearer, a gender-swapped Ganymede, pouring water on a menorah. Water drowning out fire. Oh my goodness, that's interesting. Interesting symbolism there. And I'm not exactly sure if that's Arabic or Sanskrit on the left. Okay, but there we see the two androgynes. This is from Templar holdings, showing that, yes, indeed, the accusations of worshipping strange gods was in fact true. But also, we see that kind of imagery that we see also in some demonology, particularly from the grimoires. So if you look at that image on the left, clearly a demon, okay, with writing and sigils and iconography tattooed, the two-face, the ankh, okay, and of course the sweet tooth. Yes, the sacred practice of the ancient rites, the sacred mystery, the sacred initiation of the ancient rites. There we go. And of course, this is all well attested. This is well recorded in history. No tinfoil hat conjecture here. But also much darker. Oh my goodness. We see a child being, uncomfortable. And we see the same child being thrown into a boiling cauldron. Yes, so this is also part of the religion. Cannibalizing the young, the cannibalism of the young. Yes, and this goes back a long way as well, of course. We see here the iconography of Saturn devouring his young. Saturn, of course, being the outermost planet of the ancient world. You had to get by Saturn to make your escape into the stars. That is the ultimate basis of all the solar symbolism that we see, and maybe all symbolism of this type is your soul needs to escape the archons, and Saturn is the final boss of the archons, right? The final boss of the archons, the one you have to get past. And there are the 3 stars of Orion's belt. That's where you want your soul to go, right? There you go. That's Peter Paul Rubens. And then we have in Switzerland, Bern, Switzerland, a country, arguably, or maybe not so arguably, established by the Knights Templar, which is why there are all the banks there. A 500-year-old statue of a man eating a sack of babies in Bern, Switzerland, and nobody is sure why. Well, we know why, because it's all part of these secret rites. Yes, secret rites that we see here in the Baphometus book that Hammer von Pergstall discovered. And we see the same symbolism here with Alfa Romeo. Okay. You see the serpent devouring the child. The 3 stars again. The 3 stars of Orion's belt. The cross of St. George. Oh, inversion, right? Inversion. St. George is meant to slay the dragon. But here, not quite what we see. Alfa Romeo. Okay. And arguably the same symbolism here. Here we go. Just take a good strong look at that. Oh, yeah, that is rather, crescent moon and the comet and the Pleiades. Yeah, the stars. Trans love is divine and liberating. Okay. Again, I'm not making this up. It's all out there. Make of it what you will. This is another couple of images of androgynes. The bearded lady, the same one we saw in the display in Paris. All right, the androgyne. Okay, and the stars, the sun and the moon and the stars. Okay, this is all ancient stuff. You need to violate the laws of the gods, antinomianism, to escape. And notice that the sun and the moon are inverted. Oh my goodness, the inverted sun and the moon. And the pentagram, which is Leviathan, which is Cetus, the tail of Cetus, okay, and the skull. Yes, the Baphomet. It's all the same imagery that we're seeing. We saw the same imagery at the Olympics, did we not? We saw it, just a modernized version of it. The same imagery. Okay, there we go. And of course, we have these children dying, these young dancers dying on this, or falling to this catwalk during the same ceremony. Yes. What does all that mean? The main course. So as I said, Thomas Joly, who created all this, openly acknowledged this as religious iconography dedicated to Bacchus. Before we get into Bacchus, let me just bring you up to speed on the Titans. The Titans were the deities in Greek mythology that preceded the Olympians. They were the children of the primordial deities, Uranus, Oranos, heaven and earth. Okay, Uranus and Gaia. The Titans included Oceanus, Tethys, Hyperion, Theia, Cois, Phoebe, Cronus, Rhea, Nemesis, Themis, Crius, and Iapetus. Cronus was the leader of the Titans after he managed to overthrow his tyrant father from his throne and then tried to eat his children, or did eat his children. Oh my goodness. Yes, it's all the same symbolism here, but the Titans are the Anunnaki. They are the Watchers. They are the old ones, okay? So the Anunnaki, Sumer, Titans, Greece, Watchers, apocalyptic Judaism of the, I guess the 2nd century BC. And the old ones, Lovecraft by way of Alice Bailey. It is all the same thing, my friends. All the same thing. So we see a depiction of Dionysus from our friends at the AI demonology department. Yeah, I mean, there are any number of different depictions of Dionysus. The only difference being that I don't remember him being blue. The blue skin. Oh my goodness. So there we go. And there is the crowned solar crown. Yes. What are those? Those look like hexagrams at the ends of those little raised there. Oh my goodness, this is all very loaded stuff here. The flowers, the garlands evergreen, the rosebud. Okay, they're just putting it right all out there for you people. You just got to know what it all means. But these the main course. The main course. So we see the Last Supper, and Dionysus is the main course. What is the meaning of this? I'm confused. What is this? Why are the apostles being replaced by these people who are being served Dionysius as their main course? What does this mean? What does this all mean? Because, Thomas Joly said that he was depicting a bacchanal, which nobody was convinced by because bacchanals looked more like this. They didn't all sit at a table the way Christ and the apostles do in Da Vinci's painting. What's going on here? And there they are again. Oh my goodness, who are these people really? Who are these people really? The divine feminine, the divine masculine. The boundary crossers, who are they actually? Oh, maybe this is it. In Orphic legend, Dionysus was the son of Zeus by his daughter Persephone. At the direction of Hera, the infant Dionysus was torn to pieces, cooked and eaten by the evil Titans. Oh my goodness, we just saw all that imagery of cannibalism in the Templar depictions and Saturn. And that weird medieval thing in Switzerland, the Templar state. Oh my goodness, cooked and eaten by the evil Titans. Wait a minute. That's who these people are sitting at the Last Supper. They're not the apostles. They're the Titans. They're the Watcher Angels. Oh, ready to feast on the infant Dionysus. Oh, and achieve their apotheosis, achieve their godhood by consuming the god. Oh my goodness, this is symbolism that everyone should be familiar with. They consume the young god and they become the Titans, the Watcher Angels. Yes, re-emerging from Tartarus, the abyss, the Abzu. Yes, re-emerging through Mount Hermon to claim the earth once again as their own. Yes. Are they saying that these people are meant to be the vessels of the Watchers, angel spirits? What do you think? What do you think, guys? You tell me. Invoking the Old One through eating Dionysus. Yes, the crown of the sun, the mockery of Christ who's been demoted. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What is this symbolism all about? These are the holy ones, the sacred feminine, the sacred masculine, who will become the vessels of the spirits of the old ones. Yes, the Anunnaki, the Watchers, the Titans, all the same thing, my friends. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness me. And the blue skin. The aliens. The aliens. Some said Smurfs, which is appropriate given the Smurfs wear the Mithraic caps, right? Do they not? I just thought aliens, but also, do you remember this? This is the day after the Norway Spiral, all the way back in 2009, I think. Yeah, 2009, and we see this pantheon. We see this pyramid. We see the ordinary people at the bottom, and we see the gentry and the aristocracy on the sides, and who is at the center of it? The blue gods, the blue-skinned god beings, the blue bloods. Yes. Yes, that's what we see here. The divinity, which you probably are familiar with if you're familiar with Hindu iconography. The blue skins are the gods. Yes, they're the aliens. Yes, the angels. Yes. Of the occult tradition. The blue bloods. Also, almost maybe another kind of inversion here. So Dionysus will be eaten as a man, not as a baby. But Dionysus lured Pentheus, the king Pentheus, disguised as a woman. Dionysus disguised as a woman. Oh no, I'm sorry. my mistake, of course. Pentheus was disguised as a woman because he wanted to spy on the Bacchanalia, the Bacchic rites, where Pentheus expected to see sexual activities. Oh my goodness, a voyeur. The daughters of Cadmus saw him in a tree and thought him to be a wild animal. The Maenads, yes, they pulled Pentheus down and tore him limb from limb as part of a ritual known as the sparagmos. I saw that and I just thought spurging out. Like these women just all spurged out and ripped this guy limb from limb and ate him, as the Maenads did back in the day. Yes, Pentheus disguised as a woman, the sacred feminine. Torn limb from limb. My goodness. So let's get into the next inversion here, the Pale Rider. So you remember this from the London Olympics in 2012. They're all the little Mary Poppinses and the Angel of Death. The Angel of Death. Yes, with the syringe. Oh my goodness. The Angel of Death with syringe and all the children. Yes, the children. The children are always the target. Yes, always the target. So getting back to the horse person here, and I looked, and behold, a pale horse. And his name that sat upon him was Death, and health followed with him. Power was given unto him, unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. Book of Revelation. Yes, the Pale Rider, the horseman. But this horseman is a horsewoman. Of course, we have to have the inversion constantly, because the primordial gods were all androgynous. The primordial man was androgynous. They need to recapture that primordial existence, pure, true existence of sexless bliss. Okay. So there we go. The inversion, the gender inversion, yet again, over and over and over again, my friends. There it is. Yes. The fourth horseman is the fourth horsewoman. Oh my goodness. The horsewoman, wearing the flag of the International Olympic Committee, is seen on a metal horse over the river Seine, yes, during the open ceremony. Okay, we talked about the goddess of the Seine and connection to Dionysus and syncretism through Aphrodite and so on. Okay, these are the old gods right there in front of you, folks. How is there just any kind of debate over this? This isn't conspiracy theory. This is all out in the open and has been for a while. People just don't know what they're seeing. The horsewoman. There's another display on this mechanical horse, which reminds me of the mechanical bull at the Commonwealth Games, but also the mechanical lion that Katy Perry rode. Or as I call her, Mystery Babylon the Kate, rode during the Super Bowl, the 49th Super Bowl, taking the role of Coma Berenices, the Katesh. Yes, the secret feminine, over and over again, my friends. Now, so obviously, this was a big show. This was the big show. This was the most explicit of all these Olympic rituals, which I've been, again, talking about for a long time. Goes back all the way 40 years ago to Los Angeles and the Amalantra working, basically, and pretty much at the end, when the nearly 8-foot alien descended in a spaceship onto Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum and addressed the crowd. Yes, the Amalantra working, lamb. But they blew it. How did they blow it? Why am I so certain that they blew it? Well, it's as obvious as the nose on your face, folks. Well, it starts off before it, actually just before it opens, France's train network hit by massive attack. Oh my goodness, massive attack before Olympics opening ceremony. So it all starts badly. It all starts badly for them with this crippling of the high-speed train lines. Oh my goodness, that's not a good sign. Anybody who thinks that's a good sign, maybe should do some reading. So the whole world knew exactly what they were looking at: inversion, mockery, the replacement of the new gods with the old, let's just say. Um, Dark stain, the world turned on the Olympic Games. The global backlash to a controversy filled opening ceremony at the Paris Olympics continues to plague the start of the event. Yeah. Um, yeah. Okay. They went too far. They went a little too far. But they always go too far. Always. And just a few weeks ago, they went very far, didn't they? They're constantly rolling the dice, putting it all out on the table. But this time their luck ran out. Why do I say that? Well, like I said, a couple times they tried to squash all this, quash all this. They tried to censor anybody who was posting video from the ceremony on social media platforms, anybody who mocked and criticized it, whatever. The event, which featured drag queens' nudity and scenes deemed highly disrespectful to Christians, sparked outrage worldwide. Okay, there we go. And there's that comparison that we see again. Okay. Now, of course, what they're saying here and what we just discussed is that they're saying is it isn't just the drag queens, that's the cover. And don't forget Knowles' first law, there's always a deeper message behind the controversy. And the controversy about the drag queens should really focus on the fact that the old ones, the Watchers, the Titans, the Anunnaki, are being brought back to supplant the church, Christ and his apostles. That is exactly what has been depicted here. That has been going on for any number of years. I talked about it in Our Gods Wear Spandex. And again, using that same symbolism to show that superheroes were being rolled out, I guess, as intermediate gods, right? They were the gateway drug to the rollout of the Watchers. And superheroes arguably mean Nephilim, the men of renown, the giants who walk the earth. Paris Olympics organizers sorry for any offense over opening ceremony. Organizers said on Sunday they denied any attention to show disrespect to any religious group. Well, of course, that's completely untrue. But it wasn't so much disrespect as an announcement that the religious groups of today will be supplanted and replaced by the old gods, the Watchers. Okay. And it's Thomas Joly, Olympics opening ceremony artistic director, says controversial tableau was not inspired by the Last Supper. He said it was just a bacchanalia. That's obviously nonsense, completely untrue. But he's got to say something because he's probably afraid for his safety at the moment, which is unfortunate. This person has done a very good job at showing us what is actually going on in the heads of the ruling elites. We should be very grateful to this person. No harm should come to this man. He did a very good job of revealing the truth. Now, so why do I say that this was such a failure? Well, let's go back to beta testing for what we saw. The Babylon working, Mr. Parsons and Mr. Hubbard. This is from the Libra 49. Remember we talked about the 49th Super Bowl where Mystery Babylon the Kate depicted Coma Berenice, the Mystery Babylon the Great, right? The Scarlet Woman astride the beast. January 10th. This is from Jack Parsons' diary of his working. I invoked twice. I retired around 11 p.m., was awakened at 12 by 9 strong, rapid knocks. The 9, oh my goodness, the Ennead. There we go. A table lamp at the opposite corner of the room was thrown violently to the floor and broken. Oh my goodness. There was no window in this corner and no wind was blowing at the time. So a table lamp, talk about the symbolism there, right? Talk about the symbolism there. The light extinguished. Now, Parsons Wright, note, I have had little experience with phenomena of this sort. Now, pay close attention here, my friends. Magically speaking, it usually represents breaks in the operation, indicating imperfect technique. Actually, in any magical operation, there should be no phenomena but the willed result. Okay? I'm going to repeat that. In any magical operation, there should be no phenomena but the willed result. Okay? If you have that, you're in trouble. Okay? And obviously, Mr. Parsons, golly, not so long, just a few years after he undertook this operation, met a very, very unfortunate end. Very, very bad end. So they had the sabotage of the train lines, Mercury, obviously, the messenger, the travelers. The symbolism there is rather stark, but they also had the rain. Yes, the water washing away. Yes, nobody wants to have rain during your $1 million, $billion ceremony. Believe me. Nobody wanted this to happen. So the gods themselves turned on their devotees. Yes. Oh my goodness. The rains came. The Olympic flag raised upside down in opening ceremony blunder. Oh my goodness. The inversion. Yeah, it's arguably intentional. I would argue that it wasn't. This is just more incompetent ritualism. These people have gotten soft and weak and lazy, and they can no longer perform their ritual duties correctly anymore. Oh my goodness. Gaga blunder. Paris 2024 Olympics opening ceremony in technical blunder as big screen cuts out after sudden deluge of rain. Yes. Oh my goodness. Oh, and there are the tattoos. Lady Gaga. There she is. The usual suspect. Bringing the rain. Yeah. So the electricity, remember we talked about just a moment ago, Parsons and the lamp, the electricity, the light being extinguished by the rain. Oh my goodness, same symbolism we saw in Hammer von Pergstal. Yes. Even the critics couldn't shine this Shinola. Olympic ceremony shined with Best of Paris in France, but failed as TV. Yes, it failed as TV. And that's what it was produced for, folks. It was produced for television. It was produced for this to be seen on television. Okay? All these different moving parts. Oh, and what happened the next day? Major power outage hits large swaths of Paris. Oh my goodness. So the power outage again. Oh, the electricity, lightning. I saw Satan fall like lightning. Yes, the spirit of electricity, right? Mithras, AT&T. Oh my goodness. Lost power. Oh my goodness. It gets worse, people. So this was the next day. Obviously, somebody was unpleased with this display. Not going well. Oh, just this morning, network data showed disruptions to multiple internet providers in France amid reports of a fiber sabotage campaign targeting telecoms infrastructure during the Olympics. Oh my goodness, the saboteurs are out in force. The security state, they're really good at arresting old ladies, picketing abortion clinics, and people posting memes, but they are useless at anything that requires any effort or bravery or skill. Useless, cowards, incompetent cowards, all of them, okay? So power outage, internet outage, train outage, pouring rain. These are not good things, my friends. These are not good things. This is bad mojo. This is failure. Oh, and just today, the water, the Seine, the river, the goddess of the Seine. Olympics pre-race triathlon event in Seine River canceled after water quality concerns. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? So there's just been a lot of this. It's probably more since I started working on this presentation. But this was a catastrophic failure, magically speaking, okay? And when you look at the sorcerers behind all of this, believe me, they are not happy. I would even argue that many of them are absolutely terrified, okay? Absolutely terrified. They know what this portends. This is a failed magical working, okay? These things are all magical workings. They follow the textbook descriptions of magical workings. This is not conjecture. This is not conspiracy theory. This is documented history, documented facts. That's exactly what we're seeing. Every time you see this imagery, every time you see this symbolism, it is sympathetic magic, my friends. And in this case, oh my goodness, the gods are not pleased. They have shown extreme unction with this performance, okay? This is failed magic, okay? This is failed sorcery, all right? And just look at the evidence, okay? You know, don't tell me about this and that. Don't tell me about, you know, your charts and graphs and your secret decoder ring and all this kind of conspiracy cope nonsense. This is not fourth dimensional chess. This is bad magic. Just textbook bad magic. You know, I mean, there it is right there. Going back to the Libra 49, the Babylon working. Yes, yes, yes. Which was a spectacular failure for Parsons, at least. Poor dumb bastard gets back to Pasadena and thinks that Marjorie Cameron, the naval intelligence officer who's been sent to spy on him before she starts drinking the Kool-Aid herself, is his Scarlet Woman, that she was somehow summoned by this working. Yes, and it wasn't just Mr. Hubby getting on the phone to his superiors at the Naval Intelligence Office and saying, why don't you send a redhead to this guy? Yeah, he'd love it. Scarlet Woman. Failed magic. Failed magic. Catastrophe. What will be the implications of this? What will be the end results of this? I can't say. It's above my pay grade, so to speak. But the Olympic working failed, okay? Clearly failed. By any possible yardstick has failed, all right? The Olympic working, when sorcery fails, okay? That is the message here. And there we go. There's just no two ways about it. There's no two ways about it. What this portends for the larger plans, the larger agendas, is, again, it's beyond me. But all I can say is it's going by established, published, well acknowledged, long acknowledged rules of the game that this was a failure. Just a failure. Thank you very much, folks. Talk soon.